Anyway, we can start on Natsu vs. Mereoleona and ask the debate afterwards.
Yeah, true. Mereoleona, what do you want to do?
Just step closer to your mic real quick. It has like doing the same thing again where you can hear the background noise.
You can hear me though.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, sure.
How we doing right now?
Are you talking?
I'm waiting for you now. I've not already like to okay. You know me, I'm not too into scaling, blah blah. My question is that how do you think now? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you last time, but you did say Mereoleona was like high multiversal. So just where do you think that scales in general? Like, I've not really heard the term high multiversal. I don't really think it is a term. But if you're saying that Mereoleona scales to this range, then I mean, show just what dimensionality is high multiversal. Pretty sure you also have been doing videos on scaling cosmological structures. So I'm pretty sure you can just definitively substantiate where you think Mereoleona scales in terms of dimensionality.
40 plus 5 eyeballs.
Okay, so I'm just gonna be taking multiversal plus since that's probably just gonna be easier for you to justify. So why would Mereoleona be multiversal plus?
I thought I've already said that yesterday. Scale to the tree of people and scale above the five little dragons.
So you're saying we can grant that the tree of cultist trail scales to like low multiversal, and then if Mereoleona scales above that, I don't know, like low multiversal as well.
She scale above the five little dragon too, which has enough energy. This is we're not talking about raw energy output, which distorts space and time connected to another universe. So yeah.
Yeah, so where are you saying that scales to? Because based off what you said right now, that could pretty much just simply be low multiversal at the highest. Even based off what you said, I don't really think it should scale anywhere since all you said is just breaking space and time that's connect to another universe, like universal plus, I guess. If we're assuming that this connection does encompass both of these universes, but even then, like, I can grant low multiversal at the highest. I don't have a problem with that.
Where I actually see the family dragon to actually watch the video. So,
Where are you saying the five-headed dragon scale?
I I posted the video. I thought you saw it.
So you're scaling the five-headed dragons to the world of shadows, which you're trying to say is 5D.
The
Wait, World of Shadows? Are you guys talking about Nox Dimension?
I don't really know. Like, he says I should pretty much know his argument since he's under the pre-assumption that I should have watched this video. And based off what I recall, the recent video I've seen from him is him scaling the 5 dragon gods to the world of shadows.
The five-headed dragon scaling is from the underworld, not ninth dimension. Have nothing to do with the five-headed dragon.
Okay, so if it's for the underworld, then I already said that I'm willing to grant low multiversal. If you have any higher scale, then you can just like go ahead. But as of right now, like low multiversal is generally like a granted highball.
That is too low multiversal fit from two things Mereoleona scales above. That's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? But let's just say for no long talk, like you know me, I'm sticking to one conversation for hours. Okay, no long talk, she scales to low multiversal at best, okay? We'll see. I just want to hear Natsu beat Mereoleona. That is my own point here, so I'm just waiting for that conversation.
Okay, so if it's for the underworld, then I already said that I'm willing to grant low multiversal. If you have any higher scale, then you can just like go ahead. But as of right now, like low multiversal is generally like a granted highball.
That is my own point here, so I'm just waiting for that conversation.
Okay, first of all, just so you can hear my argument and just attend to it properly, are you able to turn that like water thing in your background off? So like you can actually attend to my arguments and I can hear what you're saying.
I used to hear it.
Is it off? Okay. Anyway, did you say that we can conclude on Mereoleona being like low multiversal granted and that you just want me to scale Natsu?
Low multiversal, just continue. Let us go. Low multiversal best. Okay.
Okay, so within the FairyTail cosmology, do you agree that there exists an infinite amount of parallel universes, which would be multiversal plus, given how each of these parallel universes are independent space-time continuums that can be inferred to be infinite in size? So, given how there exists an infinite amount of universal plus structures, that would be multiversal plus, and you can infer that beings like Seraph, Acnologia, Selene scale above the cosmology, and Natsu has definitively shown capabilities of scaling to beings like Seraph and Selene.
That is like the same to every universe, okay? Just like BlackClover having the same infinite universe, it's the same to every verse. Even the Demon Slayer verse obviously have parallel universe. So, and we have already
No, but in the
confirmed.
case of BlackClover, you can't, like, based off what you proved right now, there are like two separate space-time continuums. We assume that these two separate space-time continuums are universal in size, and that there's something that connects both of them, which encompass these two universal plus structures. Therefore, if you affected the boundary separating these two structures, and that's a low multiversal feat, that's what's granted for the underworld scaling for BlackClover. In the case of FairyTail, it isn't simply a finite amount of dimensions or structures that are like universal plus. It's not even granted to be universal plus. There's an infinite amount of these structures. And by fulfilling the requirement for multiversal plus, it does necessitate that it has to be an infinite amount of universal structures. Universal plus for that matter. Or just like infinite 4D structures.
Well, I believe you actually know BlackClover actually have timelines. I believe you know that. If you actually read the manga,
Yeah, I've read the manga. I've read the manga. The max amount of timelines that you're able to actually confirm that exist in the world of Black Clover is at best 10,000.
10,000 plus. Amount of
I'm
time.
pretty sure,
So it's more than
depending on the translation, it says
Okay,
10,000 or 20,000. But yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's like unquantifiably over 10,000. So W, like, what does that have to do
I
with
mean,
anything?
like it's
I
the same.
think
You're trying to say you want to scale Natsu to all the old timeline in fairy tale.
parallel universes don't equate to timelines. Timelines are distinct from parallel universes.
Actually,
I mean, that's not inherently true, but I can see what you mean.
yeah. So proceed.
Like in the case of some fictional senses, timelines are simply a divergence in history that has like another alternate universe that's still incorporated with it, like similar to the other universe, but like the events unfolded differently, so different things happen. So in the case of Black Clover, a different timeline could be where Asta died, whereas in the case of a parallel universe, a different parallel universe could be where Asta never like even chose to be the Wizard King. He rather wanted to be like some wizard commander or something, just a different goal or a different choice. But in the case of some fictional verses, they do treat timelines and parallel universes as the same. So I mean, sure.
Yeah,
But in the case of FairyTail, you can infer that these parallel universes in themselves encompass an infinite amount of timelines. So like even if I grant that timelines do exist in Black Clover, that's literally just inferior to one parallel universe. And I'm stating that an infinite amount of these parallel universes exist.
Okay.
But I was also just lowballing because I did say universal plus, and if I'm including the timelines, now it upscale each parallel universe in FairyTail to multiversal plus. But there's really no need for me to scale that high. The fact alone that I can definitively prove that there exists an infinite amount of these parallel universes is already beyond the low multiversal scope, which only incorporates a finite amount of dimensions.
I'm cool, my cool. Manga is. Anyways, proceed. Let's go. I want to see your argument for how the hell Natsu is going to even beat Mereoleona. So let's go. Keep scaling. Keep scaling.
So, do you agree that the cosmology of FairyTail is multiversal plus, or do you want scans to justify that?
I would confirm that, but okay, according to actually RP, yes. I remember RP actually sees different different possibilities. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so you want a
So then
justice?
you agree. So then you agree, or do you want the
I'm
justification?
pretty sure.
Let's move forward.
Everywhere.
Um, yeah. I mean, sure, like, since we agree, so I guess by you saying you want me to just scale more, what you want is for me to prove that Natsu actually scales above the cosmology. Because if I remember correctly, you did say, why would Natsu scale beyond all these different alternate universes or something? So I can just start on Acnologia first of all. In the case of the space between time is inferred to be beyond everything we see prior. It's beyond the comprehension of every other being that we see prior into the story. And prior into the story, we can actually get beings like Mystigan who create anima, which are like hyperspatial gates which separate these parallel universes. Like even if it not including beings that do scale to these parallel universes, even though it's easier to prove. Based off the description surrounding the space between time, it wouldn't actually be limited to any of the concepts or criteria that surround that of a parallel universe. Like the SPT isn't made up of space, it isn't made up of time. Like it's basically implied to being nothing, as verbatim stated multiple times. So when it states that this space between time actually transcends space and time, at a baseline, you can say that that's beyond like the multiverse that governs all the parallel universes within FairyTail. The higher ball would be something that I don't necessarily need to get into right now. But you can't really say that it would be bound to the multiverse that incorporates all the parallel universes when it isn't limited to anything and denotated as nothing that transcends space and time.
Space between time is very more.
What?
You know, the space between time is not an actual place. It's like nothingness. So it's
Yeah.
like a similar void. So
Yeah, in the case of fiction, nothingness in itself can exist as a void, which would just be taken as a true void. Like there are some context-based criteria where nothingness just refers to a place that doesn't exist, but in the case of fairy tale, it is verbatim indicated even within the plot that the space between time does exist. So when it says nothingness, it's just in reference to its structural manifestation rather than whether it actually exists or not. Because the thing I'm basically stating right now is that the SPT is kind of illogical in terms of actually being governed by the multiverse. Like it's a structure that exists, but its manifestation is nothingness that isn't limited to anything within the multiverse. And then we also have statements that say it transcends space and time. So we can't really say that it doesn't exist, but it transcends space and time. So when we see a statement that says it's nothingness, even though that would imply that it doesn't exist, we do visually see that it exists. And based off statements, we know that it isn't bound by certain criteria and that it actually transcends them. So by virtue extension, it would be beyond the multiverse that governs all the parallel universes in Fairy Tail. And now just make it like baseline 5D. Like I'm pretty sure transcending space and time in itself could be inferred to be in 5D. Normally people say 4D, but based on the scope I've indicated with this space between time and in the context of the multiverse that governs all the parallel universes, it would be more likely for the space between time to just be baseline 5D in this case. Like when you say that the space between time isn't an actual dimension or something, or you're trying to say that it doesn't exist, or that no one in the case of Fairy Tail actually scales to the space between time.
one of the favorite space between time. Let me tell you how the space between time. The space between time is actually like that little like portal like the true which teleports you into the space between time.
Yeah, the thing that Anna described was a crack in space and time, which is like barely bigger than a tangent, and it reacts severely to being a crack in time, and anyone who like phases through it even slightly gets absorbed into the space between time. If that's what you're referring to, then yeah.
That particular thing is what Acknowledger actually eats. Like he ate that. He didn't consume the full dimension. That
Do
stuff.
you,
Wait, hold on. That stuff he ate actually gave him access to the space between time. That is what the character are referring to, not the actual dimension itself. The actual dimension itself, like this, like similar to like Natsu dimension, which like death doesn't exist there. Like you are just there for eternity. So like consuming water itself actually give you the magic, like give you the ability to travel between space and time. Like if you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, I have three things regarding that idea. First of all, the small tangent that we see that you're describing as a portal is simply the reaction in space and time as a result of a crack being in space and time. So that reaction thing that you see that's like looks like some purple bulb that's like reacting immensely and a lot of energy spewing out of it is simply just a reaction to the natural flow of time being disturbed through the eclipse gate or eclipse project, which is what caused the emergence of the space-time time. So the portal, like the little tangent thing that we see isn't even the dimension itself. So when it states that Acnology eats the space-time time, it wouldn't be coherent for it to just be like what isn't the dimension, but just a byproduct of what the dimension actually causes. And I can also just show visual evidence of Acnologia being pushed into this dimension. A few manga panels go by where Acnologia is literally like gone. You cannot see him from the scenery as he has been pushed into whatever. Like I can even grant that it's a portal. I don't really care. Let's just say Acnologia has been pushed into this portal for at least like two manga panels straight. He's gone from the scenery, meaning that he's within this dimension itself. He still breaks the spatial manifold of the universe and comes back, in which it is stated that he eats a space and time. So based off the evidence establishes, it's literally just self-evident that he went within this dimension, since we literally see him get pushed into it and disappear entirely. And then when he comes back, it's stated that he actually eats the dimension itself, which is the space between time. Like that's all stated
Yo,
verbatim.
can we stop referring to the space between time as a dimension? Because, like, if it's a dimension, that contradicts it being like a void. Like, a void is an absence of. I mean, like, a true void is by definition an absence of dimensions. Like, because it's like absence of space and time. Like, it's just a void.
I know, like in the case of fiction, mostly when you get an aspatial structure, anything, any way you like phrase this aspatial structure still implies that it has relations or spatial extent. So basically, when you state that a true void is a dimension, dimension in this case will simply be a subjective nominal used linguistically to break down the description of this dimension without being a clear representation of the dimension itself. And for instance, if one were to try and refute the space-time time through saying that, oh, you called it a dimension, so therefore it has space, that would just simply be a nominal fallacy. Because nominal can be something that only exists in name for someone to understand a criteria without representing the criteria's full scope or attributes.
Like I don't know what because the space between time doesn't exist from the beginning. In case you know, let me just go back.
Yeah, I already attended to that. Like, it's stated that it transcends space and time. That's impossible for something that doesn't exist. It's visually indicated to existing. And in the case of nothingness, it's literally just in reference to the manifestation of the space and time. Like, it's stated to be in the magic of nothingness. Magic infers that it is something that's just devoid of everything, isn't bound by anything, and transcends space and time as stated. So it can still be something, because like something that is the manifestation of nothing that exists as a true void is a logical possibility within fiction, especially if it's established to be in this case. And your interpretation is not only not backed up by any single statement, since the space between time is also verbatim stated to existing, but it also just does not align with what's stated in regards to the space between time, since it's also been stated to transcend criteria, and transcend means comprehensions. Like, if you want, I can also just bring the statement verbatim saying that the space between time exists.
Just let you know that this time itself was actually created. Like it's not something like how will I put it for you? It's not. It was not there before. Like it's a new some like new a crack in space. If I'm not forgetting. That's how it was created.
It's a product of the time concept of time like repairing itself because of the damage of the damage caused the time by fucking time
Eclipse.
travel. But the thing about it is that that doesn't really change the specific criteria. If it still is absent of the concept of space and time, is referred to as a void, is referred to as a concept, and is directly stated to be beyond space and time, then that means that like it still meets all the criteria that Scar has presented.
Yeah, I
I'm
know, but
still willing.
what I'm actually to like, I'm actually to let him know that that doesn't mean it governs all the timelines because it has nothing to do with those timelines. It only exists
But
in one particular one, which is the
but
current.
based on the
Which is the
So,
current.
are you trying to say that due to the fact of the space and time being created, it would not be governed or be beyond all timelines? Like, I can just posit that the thing I was referring to is timelines, even though it was parallel universes, because anyway, that does not hurt my argument in any way, shape, or form. But are you trying to say that since the space and time was created, therefore it cannot govern all timelines? Because it simply wasn't in reference to that. Like, simply by attending to this would be restating what I already stated prior, because there's no way for it to not govern or be limited to the multiverse that encompasses all parallel worlds if it isn't bound by anything instead of to transcend space and time, which, like, the totality of the multiverse is space and time, which encompasses the parallel worlds. So that just would not logically follow in itself. And also, the space and time being created doesn't mean that, like, it has to be limited by what it was created by, because we already know that as the space and time was created, Zero found upon it, sealed it away, and then stated that it got stronger over time till it reached beyond his comprehension. So even if I grant you that it was created by something like bound by a universe, even though that isn't even true, because the eclipse gate is actually beyond universes, but even if I grant that the space and time was created by something bound by that of a universe, within the case of FairyTail, it's already established that its growth potential and extent was greater to just reach higher levels, put simply. Like, we even have cases of space between times being within FairyTail and true voids, like Zero's Genesis Zero or Cronus World, but the space between time, like, just evolved to an extent where it isn't even limited to these worlds in any shape or form, despite it sharing the same attributes as the space between time.
Okay. Again, I still think how any character could skate without it. At the end of the day, what's happening? It
Wait, so are we going back to whether or not they scale to it now, rather than when it actually, rather than whether this space between time actually exists or not, or where it scales? We're not attending to that right now. But what you're putting into question is whether they actually scale to it. Because not only did I already indicate this, but, like, I'm fine with going back onto it as long as we're, like, at least conclude on one topic. Because based on what you're saying right now, it would mean that we're going circular. Since we're on the topic of whether the space between time exists, then we go to the topic of whether space between time, like, scales. Then we just go back to whether someone actually scales to the space between time or not. Like, starting from right now, we can literally just indulge in the topic, conclude on that topic, and just move to the next one. Are you fine with it being whether the space between time exists to where the space between time scales to whoever scales to the space between time? Are you fine with the topics going in that chronological order?
basic, so there's no problem. What I'm getting at, like, how come?
Just step closer to your mic real quick.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I already know the space between time actually exists because I posted about it a long time ago. But my own question is, how come are we getting other characters scaling to the space between time?
Okay, so first of all, Zeref utilized the magic from the space between time, as not only was the space between time a byproduct of his creation being the Eclipse project, but he found upon the space between time and sealed it for later use till he gained Fairy Heart, in which he combined Fairy Heart with the space between time's power in order to fight Natsu. So not only would Zeref scale to it since it's his magic, but Natsu also burns the magic known as the space between time.
I don't know because that wasn't stated, but I can actually buy it.
Did you just say that was...
No. Yeah, that was stated. Let's not move past that. It was directly stated.
It was stated
Yeah,
that Natsu
just
has
give me
magic.
give me a sec.
I know Natsu born
Just-
there with magic. I'm aware of that. But
Yeah, but what I said was that Zeref magic is the space between time and Fairy Heart. Like, Zeref's magic is both the combination of Fairy Heart and the space between time. Like, do you agree with that?
yeah, he actually if I'm not forgetting, he actually agreed.
So, going based on the fact that you said yeah, basically your prior response and that nothing states that would be logical and just contradict on itself. Because if Zeref uses the space between time's magic in combination with Fairy Heart, and Natsu is able to burn Zeref's magic, then that would mean that Natsu burns the space between time's magic, since that's what Zeref is utilizing. So do you have any refutation to them actually scaling to the space between time, or any other argument other than, oh, it simply isn't stated?
Okay. One problem is that Natsu burning his magic doesn't mean it's burning the whole range and the whole existence of space between time. It's actually burning his like internal magic, like how explain sorry. Uh,
That doesn't matter
Oh,
as long as Natsu interacted with and destroyed like the specific portion that Zareth was going to use to affect the said timelines, and he still burned the structure that was directly suited to transcend space and time and be qualitatively over those said timelines, then yeah, he would meet those criteria.
wait,
I
the
mean,
set of
I literally
time.
have 2 points to attend to this. Like, first of all, even if it is posited that apparently Natsu does not scale to the full scope of the space and time, I literally only need to argue that Natsu is relative to a 5D construct in order for Natsu to be relative. Like, I literally only need to argue that Natsu is relative to a 5D construct in order for Natsu to be 5D himself. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Also, based off you saying that nothing really proves Natsu scales to the full extent of the space-time time, that will just be false in itself, since you literally just conceded to the fact that Zeref would have full control over the space-time time, and Natsu burnt Zeref's magic at its peak. Like, Zeref was going all out and Natsu still overpowered Zeref's magic. So if Zeref has full control over the space-time time's magic, and Natsu overpowers Zeref's magic at its peak, then that would mean that Natsu actually scales to the full scope of the space-time time. And even if that was wrong, even though there's no way that would actually be wrong, Natsu only needs to be relative, keyword relative, to the space-time time to scale to 5D.
I can actually stick. I can actually pin you here forever. I will just bring this up once. Natsu was being manipulated. Okay, his own story was like the story of
Natsu being?
wait. The story of End was actually being written by this girl. Forget her name. The
Yeah,
book,
you're
the,
saying Lucy was rewriting the book of E&D. I mean, I don't. It's literally never stated nowhere that her rewriting this book amped Natsu in any way. Because basically, her rewriting this book kept Natsu alive. Like that's basically it. Natsu died. Scriptures ran out of the book and stuff. She rewrote the scriptures, and Natsu stayed alive as his body got reformed. Like even
Yeah.
what?
hold on. He wrote the book till the fight ended. So she was rewriting nothing possibilities. Okay, let me
Yeah,
pin
but
you.
she wasn't amping Natsu. The only thing she did was just keep him alive and then unbounded him to Zareth. Like that's all she did. She didn't make him stronger.
Okay, I understand. So I just want to I just want to point that out. Okay, I just want to point that out. As I just put it. So what I'm saying is that NASA doesn't scale to the what do they call it, the Zenith magic, okay? Because the fairy door was actually the way to reset time. The spell was already casted, so it's just for Zenith to just walk through the door, and time would have been like
That's not really true. Like, first of all, the door that you're talking about, I do agree that it is a creation from the space-time time, because basically the door is a connection of the FairyTail's guild to the space-time time. Like, that's basically it. That white space that you see outside of the FairyTail doors is basically it being connected to the space-time time. But that's basically all there is to it. There's literally verbatim statements of Zero saying that he has, like, space and time is everything to his control, meaning that he can both utilize the spell or gate, whatever you want to call it, I don't really care. He can both utilize the connection of the space between time to the FairyTail Guild doors, and he can utilize the magic offensively in his spells. And we also know this is true because literally it states not just burning time itself. Time in this context would be in reference to the space-time time's magic, which is space-time magic. Like the emergence or structure of the space-time time is conceptual space-time magic, that is the manifestation of nothing, isn't limited to anything, etc., etc. So by you literally conceding that Zeref can utilize and control the space-time time fully, it would mean that he can utilize it offensively like he literally did in the battle, stated multiple times, and he can utilize it via connecting it to the FairyTail Guild doors. Like, I don't even know, like, are you trying to say that he has a space-time time magic, but he uses space-time magic to, like, cast a spell, therefore he's not, like, using it offensively against Natsu? Because, again, that would just not logically follow whatsoever given the statements.
He didn't stop time. He didn't even use the power in battle. He just use the fairy out to like everything.
Did you say he didn't stop time?
That doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter. Natsu's like regardless of like what he used it for. Like even the fact that Natsu burned the power out of like the fact that like Zeref used a specific power to manipulate the SPT and Natsu burned that power source out of Zeref, that alone would still scale Natsu to the SPT.
Well, I don't
Bro,
know.
it's actually crazy that you just say Zeref did not stop time. Like, bro, are
That
we dead ass?
in the battle, bro. Calm down. In the final battle, he didn't actually use the like space between time or the time manipulation and space manipulation. He didn't use it because if I don't know, I can't describe. It was very confusing because at the end of the day,
Okay, bro, please, like, I'm genuinely curious right now. Can you please prove he did not use the space-time time? Like, can you also, like, that the space-time time is not his magic, despite it being verbatim stated? Like, him verbatim saying that the power is his,
yes, yes, I
and
know.
that after he gains fairy, like, literally, his fairy heart form is the combination of the space-time time and fairy heart. He was literally saying that he will wait till he gains fairy heart before he uses the space-time time. So the fact alone that he gains fairy heart already proves that he used the space-time time, which is paired with the fact that you considered that he was connecting the FairyTail Guild doors. If he was connecting the FairyTail Guild doors to the space-time time, then that already follows that he has full control over the space-time time and can just manipulate it however he wants. Therefore, it would be incorporated in his magic. Therefore, if Natsu is able to burn his magic, he would be burning the space-time time's magic. Do you understand?
I understand. I actually understand everything you're saying, but you don't understand how come we are scaling to the whole structure of time.
Yeah, what I already explained, like, I don't even know what you mean by the entire structure of space and time, but basically my argument was there exists a multiverse within the FairyTail cosmology that governs all the infinite parallel universes, and the space and time would simply not be limited to the multiverse that governs all the parallel worlds, but simply transcended via its description of being a true void, and the fact that it's said to transcend space and time. Like, that's literally just my argument, put very simply. So not just get into the concept of space and time, like I can get into that later. But if you agree that like the space and time is above the parallel worlds, shouldn't be that hard to agree to that, especially since you already did that before, then like we can literally just conclude here. Because I'm pretty sure you've literally like conceded to every single one of the arguments I've brought forward, but we've just gone circular onto them again. You stated at least 3 different times right now that like Seraph does not use the space between times magic, despite already saying that he utilizes a spell that requires you to have the space between times magic. Bro, also Galaxy Roacher, what are you on? Like, the magic in itself can be conceptual, but that does not stop it from scaling to a certain extent or dimensionality. Like, literally, that's just so retarded. I guess, bro.
Okay, wait. Be careful with using the R word. You can get restricted
Oh,
using
yeah.
that. By the
What is
way,
restricted?
like for clarification, Galaxy, what's the problem with conceptual scaling? It's not like he's using conceptual scaling to like say, oh yeah, automatically outer.
But I'm not even like arguing for outer. It's probably just not tracking the argument. Like he's asking what the concept is. That literally does not matter. By conceptual scaling would simply just mean that the magic in itself works on a conceptual level. Like sure, but have you noticed that nowhere in my argument I've even incorporated the fact that Natsu burns the concept of time? Like I've not even mentioned the worth of that in my argument at all. Just get these blatant people that have like some plain mindset and just assume your argument. You know what they're talking about as well.
So where are we going from here? Because
Anyway, everywhere you find with concluding here. Been like already like 30 minutes or something, I think.
okay, I actually know now to do the bomb. So it's magic. So okay.
Okay. If you get like further refutations in the future, I don't mind like debating you again or something. As long as you just like reinforce your arguments or something. Anyway, now I guess we can move on to Natsu versus I mean not Natsu. We can move on to Shiki Granbell versus Asta. Let me just get the prompt real quick.
Can you hear me for a second? Yo.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to get clear. Are we like
Can you just step closer to your mic real quick?
Like I'm asking if we are leaving Mereoleona and Natsu behind.
No, basically, I'm saying that we can conclude on the debate since Natsu is 5D, Mereoleona is granted to be no multiversal. So, yeah, we can basically just conclude on that and go on to the next debate, which is Shiki versus Asta.
So we are not going to say how both of them going to beat each other or anything.
First of all, I think I remember based off your Twitter post, you were like repping Mereoleona's hacks or something. So do you just disagree with Natsu winning this battle based off outscaling? Because if you want to argue hacks right now, then I'm like perfectly fine with that.
5D, like I said, Mereoleona is 5D, so I don't understand. But anyways, I actually want
It's
to
not a
know,
high ball.
like I actually want to know how Natsu is going to beat Mereoleona. That's my own point here. So
Okay, so what obstacle do you think, or what obstacle are you trying to uphold that will refrain Natsu from damaging Mereoleona as a result of quantitatively outscaling her, or like in her stats or in reference to her power? Like, are you saying there's something that refrains Natsu from being able to touch her? I know what you're gonna infer, but like, I just want you to state it definitively.
one, FairyTail, the natural laws, reasons, Natsu is below. Hold on.
Natsu is below the natural laws in the FairyTail verse. Is that what you're saying?
Everything. Then hold on, calm down. Not only that, then eternal no, they are like natural energy in FairyTail. The natural energy in FairyTail. Natsu can't perceive. Like it sounds like how I put it, it can't even interact.
Everywhere. Your mic quality is inconsistent. Is there any way that you could fix it?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds better. But like you keep
Even if like I'm not gonna grant this because I'm gonna attack it right now, but I'm just gonna apply a conditional real quick. Even if it were true that Natsu interact with Mereoleona, given the conclusion that we've had over their stats, it would mean that Mereoleona has no way of damaging Natsu. So Natsu not even being able to interact with her would not necessarily matter because that would not result in the fact that she can beat Natsu since she does not scale above Natsu. But like, so that's not literally an entirely win con in your favor. And either way, like as Dijin said prior, given the fact that we've already concluded on stats, she could literally just be pounding on Natsu for an entire duration and just run out of energy as a result, since it's already been accepted that Natsu scales above her. But if I'm willing to like dismiss all of that, I'm generally fine with like granting that she's some conceptual embodiment of your power system. Like I genuinely don't think that matters. I can grant it like right now.
Natsu doesn't have the ability to take any punch from base Mereoleona to let her form. So
Yeah,
the problem here is that you
yeah, bro, everywhere. That's basically the third time. We can basically conclude right now because there's no way we can conclude on stats, then move on to the topics of hacks. And then in the topic of hacks, you say Natsu has no way of taking a punch from Mereoleona. That's just the most blatant backtracking we could have. So we can literally just conclude here. There's no reason for us to progress further. And we can move on to the next event, which is Shiki versus Asta. I'm gonna just get the prompt for that real quick. Pretty sure like 20 minutes ago, you said you asked me if I could just let you talk. I let you talk just for you to go circular back on a topic that was already concluded on before you asked me whether you can talk or not. It's actually just crazy.